Hi, I'm Jesse Hilbert.
Hi, I'm Charlie Herbert.
And welcome
to Arnavon
Adventures.
Season 3, the Hexarapa Proctoring.
I don't even think that was a real one. Try that again. This is Season 3,
Episode
11. The hemipteran. The hemipteran boxer. So today's arthropod can be found outside in your favorite maple tree and potentially a box elder tree if you know what that is. And during the winter you will possibly find them inside your very own house. And while they are not harmful, they can be a nuisance. And then what do we always say? Can you?
Yes, and it is!
Alright, Charlie, today's episode brings us to the world of the eastern box elder bug. Now, Charlie, bug, that's a controversial word to us here at Arthropod Adventures, right?
Yeah.
Is everything a bug?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What are true bugs? Hemiptera. True bugs belong to the order Hemiptera. And if anyone has listened to the podcast or follows us on Instagram, Charlie, then they know that we don't just call any little tiny creepy crawly thing a bug, right? No. We only call bugs the things that belong to the order Hemiptera. Now, I know this is a colloquial term, and it probably doesn't bother most people, but I found myself to be a stickler for this, right? Now, Charlie, this eastern box elder bug, do you know what?
What?
It's a true bug.
What?
Yep,
What?
it's a true bug. And its scientific name is Boycia trivataha. That's a good one. Boycia trivataha. Try it. That's pretty good. Now, the genus Boycia gave me a good run for my money finding it out. Thankfully, I came across the website Bugs with Mike, and it was very helpful. And so when I learned that the name came from a famous entomologist, somebody who studies insects, right? And although it did not specify who, I did some digging and came across the name George William Kirkcaldy. No, not George Washington. George William Kirkcaldy. Now, this is where the scent ran cold about why he used this name. But he came up with the name of supposedly in 1910. And then I found the species name Trivitata. Comes from the Latin word tri, meaning three, and vitata, meaning banded. And this has to do with the bands of colors found around its body, which we'll get to. They're like a little dark orangish. Now, back to this entomologist and potentially where the name came from, and also just kind of like a wild, crazy thing, Char. You ready for this?
Yeah. Now,
this was found on... We already did that part. Now, this was found on Wikipedia, so we take it with a grain of salt. That's the only place I found it. But he apparently named a whole slew of animals with the suffix kiss me, which he would attach. This would attach this suffix to the name of a woman that he had been with. So like a lady he, for the kid-friendly listeners, liked, in quotation marks. He would add this suffix CHISME to the end of a potential name. It says like kiss me. And then who knows if this is true or this is how this true bug got its name, but it's kind of wild to think about for the adult listeners out there that kind of get what I'm saying through the lines. Yeah. The eastern box elder bug can be found during the summer, and unless you're looking for them, you know what, Char? They're pretty good at blending in and camouflaging. You might not even notice them. It's not until late fall when the weather starts to turn that they make their way inside, which is where a lot of people notice them. But they're not dangerous in any way, like we mentioned in the opening. They're kind of just a nuisance. Can you say that word?
Nuisance.
Do you know what a nuisance means? It means a bother.
Oh,
yeah. vocab word for the day. Now, they're not huge bugs, and I love that I get to call them bugs. And as a grown adult, they're about a half an inch long. They're pretty flat, like a lot of true bugs are pretty flat creatures, versus like a beetle, which has like their elytras on top kind of have a bulbous shape, versus the flattened, because the wings of the true bug fold across the flat, and they're kind of semi. Only the back end of true bugs' wings are membranous, right? They have a tough upper part, and these have this beautiful orange and black pattern. The majority of their body is black, with several outlines of a deep orange on the edge of their forewings. You will also find these markings on the side of and in the center of their pronotum. Try that one. Pronotum. And this is the protective plate of the first part of the thorax, where the parts of an insect.
Head, thorax, abdomen.
Good job. They have distinctively red eyes, which I think really just sets them apart, Charlie, right?
Head, thorax, abdomen.
Yeah. Now, hopefully you remember that true bugs resemble their parents from birth. That means like they don't do the egg, larva, pupa, adult phase that we talk about all the time, right? Pupa. That's always our favorite word, right? Yeah. So once hatched, they are mostly red in color, but with every growth, Charlie, this is where it gets silly, kind of fun. They gain these darker markings, and as young nymphs, they lack wings and the ability to fly. But if you look at all of their nymph stages in a line, it would kind of look like this red bug is slowly putting on a black leather jacket. Now, you might be thinking I'm crazy, but if you travel to our show notes and check out the Montana Naturalist blog, you will find
We say show notes on the
We could always say it anytime. Tell them. Show notes, right? So check out the Montana Naturalist blog, and you will find a picture that totally shows what I'm saying. And you'll see in good detail the 5 instars of the nymph and the 6th and final instar as they reach adulthood. And you'll see that bug just slowly putting that jacket on.
Yeah.
Right? Now, as their common name suggests, their life cycle, which we just discussed, revolves around the box elder tree. They prefer the females of this tree because they have the seeds, and this is their preferred food source, although they will suck from the leaves if necessary. They can also be found on maple trees, but from what I could tell in my research, your best bet to find one in the summer is on a box elder, which, to be honest, Charlie, until today, I didn't even know that that was a tree. So we learned something new, right? Is it always good to learn new things? Yeah. We're taking a brief break from the show to share some excitingness. I know it's not a real word, but excitingness about a brand that we are working with called Dead Bird Ecowear. And it's more than just a clothing brand. Dead Bird Ecowear is a movement committed to restoring the earth. And as a proud veteran-owned business, they dedicate a portion of every purchase to global tree planting initiatives. Wear the change you want to be and wear the change you want to see, and make a positive impact with every outfit. Plus, listeners of Arthropod Adventures can use the code in all caps arthropod_adventures_podcast for 25% off their purchase. So join us in supporting sustainability and our veterans. Shop Dead Bird Ecowear. So this summer you'll find them outside, and often in large numbers, as they like to travel in groups. And once they have emerged from their winter quarters, which can be your house or could just be a little nook and cranny somewhere, they begin to feed, and shortly after they feed, they'll start to mate. And the males secrete a scent. Charlie, can you say scent?
Scent.
That's like a smell, right?
Yeah.
And it comes from their abdomen, and this will attract his possible mate. And if you've never seen these bugs mate, Charlie, it's a little different than a lot of other insects. Instead of one on top of the other, like we might see in some beetles, it's more of a back-to-back dance. You know what I'm saying?
Back-to-back.
Back-to-back. Abdomen to abdomen.
Abdomen, pupa,
Yeah.
abdomen.
No pupa here. But they do have an abdomen, you're right. And if you stumble upon this act, the female is typically the larger one that you will find.
Pupa.
No pupa in true bugs. They go egg, nymph, egg, nymph, adult. Okay? Try it.
Egg,
Nymph, adult.
Adult.
Good.
Adult, you.
Yeah, well, it depends on who you ask, right? Now, the female's typically a larger
now,
one. And once the females are
look at
done,
this.
they will lay their eggs somewhere on the tree in cracks of the bark or in the connection where branches meet the trunk. Now, she'll lay possibly a couple hundred eggs, and her eggs are reddish in color and round, and they kind of look like mini jelly beans. In some places, if the temperature and weather permits it, the eastern box elder can go through more than one generation. With plenty of heat and food, the first generation will hatch, go through its complete life cycle, and begin a second generation. The lucky adults who find somewhere safe, either in your house or somewhere safe outside, will retreat the best they can from the cold. But apparently, any nymph that has not found its way to adulthood before winter will perish, which means die. And I couldn't find a real reason why this happens, but I imagine their bodies just aren't developed enough. What do you think?
Maybe.
Yeah. So there's...
Look at.
Yeah, that's us. That's the sound of us recording. Now, there's no real need to fear these true bugs. They are harmless. They do have a piercing, sucking mouth part. That's what makes them bugs, but they use it for plants. And I did find some record of possible defensive bites.
We found a.
What did we find?
raccoon dead on that floor from a night ago.
We did see a dead raccoon while we were driving back from swim lessons, yes. Yeah, we don't like when we see dead animals, right? Yeah. So, Charlie, apparently I did find some evidence, like I said, of some defensive bites, but still harmless and didn't do any major damage. But if you find them in your house over the winter, they are easy enough to catch and throw back outside. Now, these are often mistaken for milkweed bugs, and I think I've done that too. This is mostly due to the same coloration, but there's a simple way to tell them apart, once you've seen both of them, that is. The milkweed bugs have a large, thick bands of black and red, instead of the black with the orange markings around the edge of the wings of the eastern box elder. That's how you're going to be able to tell them apart. So the next time you think you see our eastern box elder friend, remember that you're looking at a true bug, and it belongs to the order Hemiptera. That's right. And it does have that Hemiptera. And it does Hemiptera. Can I go now? Okay. And it does have that piercing, sucking mouth part that it uses to feed mostly from box elder plants. And as a young nymph, it will look like its parents, slowly slipping on that black jacket as it gets older and developing its wings. Thanks for listening.
Never stop learning.
No, not yet. That's part next. You just say thanks for listening. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
If you have an arthropod you would love to hear about, want to tell us what you think about the show, or found one of our mistakes, send us an email at arthropodadventurespodcast@gmail.com. And you can find us on Instagram at arthropod_adventures_podcast and follow us there. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Never stop learning. Show your show notes and never stop learning.
Stay inquisitive.
And never stop learning.
And always check out the show notes. You're right.